Right, so today we're diving into a topic that's got everybody talking the future of social media.
Absolutely.
And specifically, um, this whole rise of Bluesky, right, is
Yeah.
going to be the next big thing. Everybody's watching what's going on with X, what used to be Twitter.
Right.
And we've got these 3 articles from Tweakers. It's a Dutch tech news site.
Yeah.
They give us a really interesting snapshot of what's going on.
It's a fascinating picture. Yeah, to say the least.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got this clash of the titans, right? Governments are stepping in, they're flexing their muscles, they want to regulate. And these tech giants, they're trying to hold on to their global reach.
Yeah.
It's a real standoff.
Yeah, and who's caught in the middle? Users, as always, right? Speaking of, imagine this, okay? You're in Brazil, you're scrolling through X, just like normal, and bam, you get hit with a massive fine, maybe even jail time,
Oh, wow.
just for using the app.
Oh, no way.
It sounds crazy.
It sounds like something out of like a dystopian novel or something.
Right.
But this is real life. This is happening right now. X is refusing to play by Brazil's rules, specifically when it comes to misinformation and this whole issue of having local representation. So Brazil's basically saying, look, shape up or ship out.
Play by our rules or get out.
Exactly.
Wow. So that brings us to the big question, right? Is this just a one-off?
Yeah.
Or is this a sign of what's to come for these big social media companies?
That is the million-dollar question, isn't it? I mean, we've already seen the EU step in with GDPR,
Yeah.
right? Data privacy regulations. Other countries, they might be watching this whole Brazil situation thinking, interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe we should do that too.
Right, right.
I think this could be a taste of what's to come, especially for platforms that are dragging their feet, that are not adapting to local laws and expectations.
Yeah, they're going to play the game right.
They do. They do.
Okay, so while X is busy, dodging these legal battles, there's a new player coming out of the woodwork here, Bluesky.
Right?
And get this, one of these Tweakers articles said they just hit 10 million users.
10 million.
10 million.
That's huge, especially when you consider that just back in July of 2023, it was only at 1 million downloads.
I mean, that's a massive jump.
Huge jump.
And you can't ignore the timing, right? As soon as X gets into trouble in Brazil, Bluesky starts to take off.
Yeah, you got to wonder.
It makes you wonder, right?
It does.
And here's the real kicker.
Okay.
Bluesky, this supposed Twitter alternative.
Yeah.
It was created by Jack Dorsey,
Oh, wow.
the former founder of Twitter.
Interesting.
So the question is, why would he create essentially a competitor to his own platform?
That is a great question. Well, I mean, Dorsey's been pretty vocal, even before the Musk takeover, about his issues with Twitter. He's a big proponent of decentralization and open source technology. And guess what? Those are the cornerstones of Bluesky.
Okay, hold on. For those of us who don't speak fluent tech, right, let's break those terms down a bit. What does decentralization and open source, what do those actually mean for the average user?
All right, so imagine a social network, right? But your data, it's not controlled by some big corporation. It's not beholden to shareholders or advertisers.
Okay.
That's the promise of decentralization. And open source, think of it like this.
Yeah.
Anybody can look under the hood of Bluesky. You can examine the code. You can see how it all works. There are no secret algorithms controlling your feed.
Well, it's all about transparency.
Exactly.
Users have control. That's the big selling point here.
Absolutely.
And it seems to be resonating with some of the early adopters, right? You look at the Tweakers comments, and it's all praise for Bluesky.
Yep.
People are talking about this better atmosphere. They use this great Dutch word, fatsoenlijk moderatie. Basically, it means decent moderation. It's like a breath of fresh air compared to...
Compared to the Wild West of X.
Yeah, exactly.
The Wild West of X.
A little bit, shall we say, more volatile over there.
Yeah, a little bit.
But, even if it sounds great in theory, actually making the switch,
Right.
that's a whole other story.
And a big step, yeah. And I think that's what this one Tweakers user was getting at. They said, I created an account, but...
There's always a but, right?
There's always but.
There's always a but.
Especially with these things. It really is the big question, isn't it? Can you actually have a decentralized platform, open source, all that good stuff? Can it actually, survive, drive?
In the social media world, which is so...
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's like everybody wants that utopian ideal, but...
It's cutthroat out there.
It is.
It's hard to pull off in reality, yeah. And you see this tension playing out in the Tweakers comments too, right? Some people, they're just like, look, no platform can escape, right?
Yeah.
The minute you get big enough, the pressure to make money,
Yeah.
it's going to turn you into, One of those traditional social media companies with all the same problems.
Right, the same pitfalls. And you know what I find really interesting, these articles we're looking at? They don't actually go into detail about Bluesky's revenue model,
Yeah, that's true.
which makes you wonder, are they still figuring that out? Right, like what's the plan here?
Yeah, exactly.
And in the meantime, you've got all these tweakers they're speculating, right? Subscriptions, micropayments for features. Someone even said, what's to stop some big company from just coming in and scooping them up, Acquiring Bluesky. Then it's just another cog in the machine.
It's the old, if you can't beat them, join them.
Or in this case, buy them.
Exactly, buy them. That's right. But, let's switch gears for a second.
Okay. Yeah.
Because another big hurdle Bluesky's going to have to clear is getting developers on board.
Oh, yeah, the whole developer ecosystem.
Yes.
It's one thing to have the platform, but you got to make it, fun, engaging. You need all those cool features,
Actually, it's like building a city. Right. You can't just have empty buildings. You need architects. You need the engineers, construction workers. You need that whole ecosystem to make a city actually function. Right.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with a platform like Bluesky. You need people developing apps, building tools, integrations. All of that makes it actually useful for people.
And to get those developers, they need a reason, right? It's not just about cool tech anymore.
No.
You got to give them that vision, that sense of community. And let's be real, they got to see the potential for making some money, too.
Oh, absolutely. And that brings us right back to that revenue model question.
The big one.
The big one, exactly. Developers, they need to know they can be profitable. They need to be able to make a living, or they're just going to go somewhere else.
Yeah, they've got to pay the bills.
Exactly. So it's a delicate balancing act, that's for sure.
So, okay, they've got a lot on their plate, right?
They do.
But even if they figure out the money part, even if they get all those developers making amazing things,
There's still the elephant in the room.
there's always an elephant in the room, isn't there?
There is. And in this case, it's moderation.
Ah, yes, the M word.
The M word.
Moderating content is a nightmare on any platform, but on a decentralized one where there's no one at the top calling the shots.
It's who's in charge here?
Yeah. How do you keep things from devolving into just a free-for-all of misinformation and spam and all the bad stuff?
Exactly. How do you make sure it stays a space for healthy conversation?
Right.
Well, it looks like Bluesky's trying to tackle this head on. They're experimenting with something called algorithmic choice.
Algorithmic choice. Okay, I'm listening.
So the basic idea is users get more control over what they see.
Okay.
Imagine being able to choose, from a menu of algorithms.
Right.
And each one is designed for a specific purpose, right? So you want to see stuff just from your closest friends and family. There's an algorithm for that. You want to see stuff from people who share your political views, even if they're, a little out there. There's an algorithm for that too.
So it's like having a personalized filter for your social media.
Exactly. It's all about giving users more power to decide what they want their online experience to be. No more echo chambers, no more filter bubbles.
I love the idea, but I can already see where this gets tricky, right?
Oh, of course.
What's to stop someone from creating an algorithm that, promotes harmful content or excludes certain voices?
You see? $1 million question.
Always $1 million question.
Always. But Bluesky, they're talking about having this whole system of community moderation.
Okay.
So users can flag bad content, help shape the algorithms, that sort of thing.
So it's kind of like a collaborative approach, right?
Exactly. A group effort.
Relying on the wisdom of the crowd.
Hopefully the wisdom, at least.
Right.
Fingers crossed. But whether that actually works, when you've got millions of people, who knows?
This grand experiment, that's for sure.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Okay, so we've talked tech, we've talked challenges, this whole future of social media thing, but let's bring it back down to earth for a second, right? What does all this mean for the average person?
Yeah, let's cut through the noise here. If you're out there, you're listening, and you're just over X,
Yeah. The negativity, you feel like you have zero control, maybe you're even a little freaked out by this whole Brazil thing. Bluesky's looking like, okay, maybe there's an alternative here.
But, and this is a big but, it's not like a magic solution, right? Right. It's super early, and there are some real questions about whether they can actually pull this off. Can they grow without turning into, everything they're trying to get away from?
Exactly. It's not about jumping ship just yet. It's more like the landscape is shifting. Remember that tweaker's comment? I created an account, but
Yeah.
that but speaks volumes, right? People are curious. They're sniffing around. They want to see if there's a better way to do this whole social media thing.
Right, without selling your soul to the algorithm.
Ex-
And that's what's so interesting about this whole thing, right? It's not about whether Bluesky wins or loses. It's about what it represents, this idea that, hey, Maybe we do have more power than we think. We get to choose where we spend our time online, right? Our attention, our data.
And those choices, they send a message. Think about Hives,
Oh, wow, yeah.
the Dutch platform. It was huge, right?
It was.
And then poof, gone.
That's how quickly things can change.
Exactly, it can happen.
Wow.
Especially when enough people decide, like, enough is enough, I'm out.
So are we saying everybody go delete your account, switch to Bluesky right now?
No, not at all.
It's your call.
But keep your eyes on this one because it's a story that's still being written. It is. And it's a bigger story than just one platform. You know, this whole back and forth between governments, these tech giants, and then us, the users, stuck in the middle.
Right, we're caught in the crosshairs.
We are. So, yeah, that's what I'll leave you with. It. Think about where you want to stand in all of this. What kind of online world are you hoping for?
That's the question we should all be asking ourselves, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, folks, that's it for this deep dive. As always, thanks for listening.